Welcome to my sewing room. I'm just going to do a little video on how I put my bindings on a quilt or a mug rug or a coaster, something that's padded or wadded or batten inside, such as this. And this is just a little placemat that I made, a scrappy one. I just made a long one and then cut 4 up to make a set of 4 brightly coloured table mats. So that's the thing we're going to be covering, binding, sorry. And I've cut a couple of strips at 1 3/4. Going to put it on singly because I think that's the easiest way to bind. If you haven't done any binding, to put it on single is, I think, the best. And so I'm going to show you how to do that. But also I think single makes sharper corners. So let's get straight on. So I'll show you how to join the binding. So I've got some strips long enough to go around all 4 corners, plus a little bit extra, 4 sides, sorry, plus a little bit extra for the corners. And then I'll show you how I put them together. There's probably lots of different ways to do this, but this is the way I do my bindings. Or one of the ways. There's quite a few different ways, but this is the first one, I think. This is the easiest one. So I'm going to line them up. I'm going to make sure that you can line them up on your mat. If you haven't got a mat, you can use your ruler. And use your ruler that way so that your edge of this is level with that, the top and bottom's level with that. And then you can see the lines on this one. Keep that level there. And then this one is running down this way, level with that line on the ruler. So we know that that's perfectly lined up, because it's very important that we do get that perfectly lined up. So then I'm going to just pop a little mark right where that junction is, from this one to that one, and put my ruler there, making sure that there's room for my pen to stand straight up, because this can make a big difference if you don't get that right. It can make a big difference. We need to make sure that there's room for the pen on that side of the ruler to get right into that corner there and that corner there. Then I press on my ruler so that nothing moves, and gently I go out to the edges from the middle and do it that way. This is a friction pen, fabulous, and it will rub out with friction or with heat. But do check your materials first, because I have known them to not completely disappear with heat from certain materials. So do check on a scrap bit before you do it on a good bit. So making sure that that's level with that there, and pin it if you need to. You could glue it either. You could glue there, that corner, because that's going to be cut off from that line that way. You could glue it either. So I'm going to take that to the sewing machine, and I'm going to sew exactly on that line, not either side, not wandering off, exactly on that line. Okay, be back in a bit. There. So I've stitched that down, and then I'm going to cut off that edge. So this is the bit that I said you could have glued that with some fabric glue or wash out stuff. And then I'm going to put this line, this 1/4 inch line here, on my stitching. Lay that straight on my stitching, and then cut 1/4 inch away. So about 1/4 inch. If you don't have a ruler like this, then just, so long as you've got a decent seam, that's all that matters. Then when we open it out, it should be absolutely straight, and it isn't here for some reason. I don't know why. but it's not far off. It'll be okay. And so then we're going to open up the seam. Oh, that looks alright. I've never opened it up. Press it with your nail or iron it, or got my trusty wooden doofer that David made me. I can just press it down like that, or even with your nail, it'll be fine. You can see I have another seam there. But right, so where was I? Yes, so now I'm going to press down one side 1/2 inch, about 1/2 inch all along one edge like that, and then I'm going to be sewing the other edge along there onto here. Righty then. I'll see you in a few minutes. Right, so I've ironed the 1/2 inch down. I've laid this on the wrong side, should be on the back. And I'm going to start in the middle there. Well, a bit further down. And I've folded this down, across like that, a little way. Just crease that with my nail. And then this comes down, this will fold into there, like that, and then that'll curl around that way. So, I'm not just going to, sorry I'm knocking you. Just move this light a bit. Roll from my hand. Right, so I'm going to move my needle over to 1/4 inch. So I'll line up this edge on this outer edge here. See me there. So I won't be watching my needle, I'll be watching this edge, making sure I keep this edge on there. Keep that there. I've got my tape measure and my friction pen. Lay all this together. Don't need to back tack because I'll be running over it again. So when I get near this edge there, put my tape measure on there, and I feel that. I'll see if my hand's in the wrong way. I wonder if I can move you a bit. Oops. I'm going to be feeling that there. I can't see. That there. Put my 1 inch mark on there. And then mark 1/4 inch. And I do quite a long line so that when this starts to go under there, I can see it through that perspex foot, and then I can see it into there and see where I need to put my needle down right on that blue line. There. Right, tack and take that out. And so now need to that way and fold this up this way so that it's all in line with itself. I tend to use my plate here. I tend to use this as my straight guide. So we don't want it like this, we don't want it like that. It's got to be straight up level with this here. and hang on to that. And bring it down. So now if you look at this, can you see that there? That's not right. That's not right there. Need to get that so that it's in line with this one coming down here. So I've obviously just not quite folded it right. So get that in line with that. So this top's all got to be in line. That's got to be in line there. This has got to be in line down this side here. And then make sure that that stays. Oh, look at that gorgeous material. Oh, it's only a tiny bit there. Make sure that that's not cockled up under here. Now I'm not going to put it right at the back here, because I might get a bird's nest. So I'm just going to do a couple of stitches there and then go back to that edge. So that should be exactly where that 1/4 of an inch was that I marked. Excuse me. Let's come down now again. Don't go too far. You need to be able to make sure that you've got enough room to mark this end. You might get one day that you don't even need to mark it, that you go, I keep knocking you, sorry, that you can just do it by eye, but I never trust myself. So, again, just try and get my hands out of the way. Line that up with my 1 inch mark there. And then 1/4 of an inch. Reverse. Take your work out. And then again, throw it over here. Oh. Sorry, saying battery's going. So I'll just carry on and be back in 2 minutes when I've got round to the beginning again. Hello, I'm back. My battery went. I ran out of binding, so I had to make some more binding. So I've just got to this point now where that was the bit stitched on to start with. I'm going to bring this down over the top, and then I shall cut that off. That's about that point, I think. Should be enough. Excuse me. Oh, sorry. As long as that's gone past this bit, and that should be okay. So I cut that off at that crease. Again at an angle just to get rid of a bit of bulk. I'm going to pull this down a shade. And you see it's still level there. I'm pulling it down a shade just to go over that last stitching. Put all my ends off. Now then, so this is here. Now this bit here is going to be, this bit here is going to be turned under. So I'm just going to put a few stitches just in there to hold those together. Pulling that underneath one quite tight so that we have a nice tight seam. And just up to that line and back off again. Right, so now I'm just going to press this away on the lengths, not worrying about the corners or anything. I'm just going to press those like that. I'll be back as soon as I've done that. Right, I've just pressed that. So we'll come now to the last bit where we're just going to fold this folded edge in, turn it over and stitch it down. So there's a few different ways that you can do this. You can fold it in and pin. Like that. A few pins in as you go. Well, pin it all down before you start. Or, let's just get to a corner. Just show you the corner. I let it go which way it wants, because sometimes, let's just move you around a bit. The corner, so it lays down. I use this pokey tooly thing. And I've ended up with, what did I say about not wanting a seam on the corner, but I ran out of binding. So it's not the end of the world, but it just makes it a bit more difficult to get a lovely sharp corner. And that's one thing about this, as I said before, the single binding I think does make sharper corners. Well, that's actually not fallen too bad. Look, it's got the seam. And if you can see the seam right on the right on the thingy. So you can pin or you can use clips. All the way on. And then I just tend to let the corners go which way they want to go, because you know it can either go that way with the fold coming up on the bottom the same as the other end, or that way. But it is tending, this one, to fall, wanting to fall the same way as the one at the other end, which is good, because then they look the same. But nobody's going to look if the edges are not together like that. I think I tend to put my pokey tool in there and pull it back, and then can you see how that looks as if it's, oh, I'm sorry, I keep knocking you. I haven't got anywhere else to put the camera. Excuse me. Or, so you can pin, you can clip, you could tack. Don't mention tacking. Right, or, best of all, you can glue. Dead simps. So, I just run it down this edge, like this. Hope you can see that. Yes, you can. Oh, I'll have to find a different way of doing this. This is just shocking. And then, it might not completely hold it down completely, but certainly helps. Certainly helps. You can take it to the iron. And help it with a bit of a heat blast just on the edge, because you know this is wadding, as I said before, so it doesn't like being ironed. It goes flat. That won't just stop it there, so I'm just going to put a clip in there. But yeah, it's basting glue. Basting glue, can you see? Dries clear and washes out. So easy. So I'm just going to take that to the iron. So there we are. You can see it's not stuck down really well, but at least it's folded over and it's held in place. So that's my favourite. So I'm just going to start and stitch this down now. I don't want to get too close to this edge. Oh, I'm going to have to move this light. I hope you can still see if I move it. It keeps dropping down and then I keep nudging it. Sorry. So I don't want to get too close to this edge here. You see from my arm, because when we come to the corner, if we get close, we run a risk of missing, coming up and then missing this corner here. So I'm just going to go a little way in. I need to put my needle back to central position. So you see that the pins work quite well. Well, sometimes I think the pins work a bit better than the clips, apart from on the corners. I think the clips are good for the corners. Now I want to tuck that in. Can you see that there? I want to just tuck that in. Don't think I'm going to be able to. There are other ways of finishing off, but I thought for the first video, this is just going to be easy binding. Easy binding. I think this is the easiest one. Right, let's have a look. Oh, you see I'm about, ooh, do you think that's 1/8 of an inch off? I think I'm about 1/8 of an inch off that end. And I'm just going to grab that, see if I can pull that up a bit. Push that in a bit while I get to it. Don't know what sort of a job I've made of that, so it doesn't look any different. Never mind. Never mind. Ugh. Can only do what I can do. See, the pins hold it quite flat, don't they? I'll be lucky if I can keep this in place here because of this thick seam. I'm just gonna poke my tool under there. I don't want to sew it. I want to sew through that. Going quite a way up now on this corner, but never mind. Again, nobody's going to be looking at it. It's good when the fold comes this way so that when your machine goes towards it, it doesn't push it away. A little bit of a back tack there. Just a bit of a dimple there. I'll hold that one down. So this is going over the glue bit now, so it doesn't glue the needles up. Doesn't do any harm. And washes out as soon as ever you wash them. So I'm going to finish this off and then meet you back here when I've done. Okay. There, so we're just back at the beginning. And it's all done. It's all done. So quite a few. There's three joins there. Over here. One there, one there, and one there. But nobody will notice those. Nobody will notice those. It's got the seam in the seam there, so that's hidden that one. That's more or less okay. And yeah, I think the single binding does create a nicer, flatter, pointier corner. So I think they're lovely. Let's have a look at the back. Yeah, so we've got the stitching going down the back. That definitely wouldn't be as neat as that if I'd done it the other way. Put that on the front. It would be wibbly wobbly and all over. And as I said, then I could have stitched it by hand, but I don't want. So that's quite lovely. And I hope to see you soon with another video on a different type of binding. Okay then, thank you for watching. See you soon. Bye.